Hello and welcome to a brief history of African nations in the World Cup. Title speaks for itself. 13 African countries have featured in a World Cup between 1930 and 2018. And here I want to go through the overall performances of all participating nations, number of times they have appeared, and best finishes, etc., etc. Sort of a continuation, I guess it's sort of a series from the a history of Eastern European nations at the World Cup. This will probably evolve into a small series of videos, and I thought it would be something interesting. Now that 2018 is in the books, sort of give like an update of sorts. So let's jump right in. Cameroon have qualified for the World Cup 7 times, the most of any African country in the history of the sport. They first premiered in 1982, and they made it to the World Cup in 82, 90, 94, 98, 2002, 2010, and 2014. Cameroon's highest ever finishing was a 1990 quarterfinals in Italy, led by Captain Roger Milla, but it was the first and only time Cameroon have ever progressed past the first round, as in Cameroon's 6 other World Cup campaigns all ended in the group stage. However, they are still one of the only 3 countries to reach the quarterfinals of a World Cup. Nigeria have qualified for 6 World Cups since 1994, making every single one with the exception of 2006. They qualified for 94, 98, 02, 2010, 2014, and 2018. They have progressed past the group stages 3 times, in 1994, 98, and in 2014, and they are the only African country to progress past the first round that many number of times. Their highest ever finish was a round of 16 in all 3 of those aforementioned progressions, and they failed to advance in 2002, 2010, and 2018. Morocco have qualified for the World Cup 5 times, the first coming in 1970. They made it in 70, 86, 94, 98, and 2018. In 1986, Morocco became the first African team ever to advance past the first round. However, that year was also the only time Morocco progressed. Tunisia have also qualified for the World Cup on 5 occasions, but unlike Morocco, they have never managed to advance past the first round. They qualified in 1978, 1998, 2002, 2006, and 2018. However, they do have the record of recording Africa's first ever victory in a World Cup where they beat Mexico 3-1 in 1978 in Argentina. Algeria have qualified 4 times, 1982, 86, 2010, and 2014. They have advanced past the group stages once, coming in 2014 in Brazil. The Ivory Coast have featured in 3 World Cups, 3 consecutive as well, in 2006, 2010, and 2014. However, they are perhaps one of the sadder stories of African nations in the World Cup, as a promising golden generation never really lived up to full potential, as in all 3 campaigns they failed to advance past the first round. Egypt have qualified for the World Cup 3 times as well. They became the first ever African country to premiere in a World Cup way back in 1934, where they also scored Africa's first ever goal in a World Cup. They then qualified again years later in 1990, before another 27 years in 2018. Egypt have never advanced past the group stages of a World Cup. Ghana have qualified for 3 World Cups consecutively at that in 2006, 2010, and 2014. They progressed past the first round in the first 2 editions they played in, getting to the round of 16 in 2006 and the quarterfinals in 2010. They became the 3rd African country overall to reach that stage and came a penalty shootout away from the semifinals. South Africa have also made it to 3 World Cups in 1998, 2002, and 2010, where they hosted. They have never passed the first round. Senegal have premiered in 2 World Cups, 2002, their first ever debut, getting to the quarterfinals. They were also in Russia 2018, where they missed out in the group stages on progression via the fair play points rule. But they are still, yet again, as mentioned, one of only 3 African nations to reach that stage in the quarterfinals. The Democratic Republic of Congo played in only 1 World Cup back in 1974 under the name Zaire. They were blown out in the group stages, did not progress, and have not been back since. Angola have been in 1 World Cup, coming in 2006, where they picked up a respectable 2 points from 2 draws in the group stage. They did not advance and have not been back since. And lastly, Togo. 1 World Cup appearance, just like Angola, in 2006. They did not progress past the group stage. They finished with 0 points from 3 losses. In total, only 6 countries from Africa that have ever qualified to a World Cup have advanced past the group stages at least once. Now, if you were to determine who's been the most successful, it's a matter for debate. Of the 6 African nations that have advanced, only 3 have gotten to the quarterfinals: Cameroon, Senegal, and Nigeria. Cameroon, Senegal, and Ghana. However, Nigeria has the most number of times advancing to the latter rounds at 3, compared to Ghana's 2, Cameroon's 1, Senegal's 1, Morocco's 1, and Algeria's 1. In fact, Nigeria and Ghana are the only 2 African countries that have advanced past the first round more than once, let alone 3 times for Nigeria. But the Super Eagles have never managed to better the results of Ghana, Cameroon, and Senegal, who each went to the quarterfinals 1 time respectively. So, if you mark success based on deepest run, you would have a 3-way tie between the Indomitable Lions, the Black Stars, and the Teranga Lions, but I guess based on more consistent success, it would be the Super Eagles of Nigeria. And while Cameroon have an impressive 7 times qualifying for the tournament, they also have the highest number of failed times to advance past the first round at 6. So, very mixed indeed for Cameroon.